Let's check out some really cool UI examples of what people are doing on their websites and their portfolios for transitions in 3D effects and animation in general. Hopefully this gives you some design inspiration and you can have a look at maybe even applying some of these for your own website. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe. My name is Adrian and I do videos around design and development. If you have suggestions or websites you want me to review, leave it down in the comments below and I'll take a look at it. So here we've got our very first one by Mustafa. And here he's done a website which looks like his own portfolio and it's got some cool transition effects. Let's jump in here and have a look at it. Let's open up this link here. And in here, this looks like his main pages. And if we select here to visit his website, we should get that. So here's his website. Now I can see there's a lot going on here. And if we move the cursor here, we've got this nice transition effect. Looks a little bit like water really. The faster I'm moving it, the thicker it is. But if I move it slowly, it's just very subtle. That's pretty cool. Now, if we select some of his links here, we've got view all projects. It's got another nice transition that takes us here to his page. And this one here has some information, maybe a case study. Not too bad. Let's select his About Us page. And here he's got a nice transition with some text coming in, big fonts and some information, which is cool. If we select all works, we've got what looks like a menu here. Now, I'm not scrolling. This is just moving when I'm moving the cursor up and down, but it's a cool effect. And if I select one of these also transition in. Now, personally, I feel that it's a little bit jarring when we've got all the images moving about like this. It's giving me a bit of a headache, but I think the home page was a little bit better designed because it was only moving when I actually moved the mouse cursor. So good stuff, Mustafa. I like your design, and let's have a look at the next one. So here we have one by Bruno, and it looks like he's a 3D graphics artist, and he's created a website to show off some of his work. Now, if we take a look at Bruno's website, it's got a little bit of music. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to hear that in the background. Personally, I don't really like adding music to websites, but it depends on which industry you're in. Now, this looks really good. It seems they've embedded a 3D graphic here into the website. So when I'm moving my cursor, it's moving along with it. If I scroll down or up, it's transitioning to the next screen. So that's really cool. I like that. If I select, say, the About Us page, that's taking me to another page with really big text, an image that seems to be moving with my cursor as well, and some content. And all of this seems to be interactive, so that's really cool. Pretty happy with this website. I think that maybe we could have a bit more information about what's going on each page, because I feel like the only option I really have is to scroll up and down, and if I could zoom in and out or even move the camera angle, I think that'd be really cool. But still, this website is pretty awesome. So let's take a look at the next one, and here we have what looks like a Spotify search for artists, and here you're actually searching for them by their avatar, which is a cool way to search. It has an element of 3D VR space where it feels like I'm almost in a headset and looking for different artists, as well as it feels a little bit similar to the original iPod where you're sort of scrolling between different artists with a sort of a circular menu there. So that's a pretty cool design. I'm not sure exactly how this would work inside a website, but it would probably work okay in an app, pending you're in the landscape mode and not the portrait mode. Alright, so for our next one here, we've got one by Roser, and he's designed a website here that's showing a little bit of a water bubble, almost like it's on your screen. So let's jump into his website and check this one out. So this is just loading up some content, and once this is loaded, the bubble appears, and now I suppose I'll just scroll and there we go. That's a really cool effect. I'm wondering how he's done that. That looks really cool, and I do like it. It's moving on its own, but it's impacting on the page really well, and it's getting a little bit bigger as I scroll down and a little bit smaller when I scroll up. Once I've that's awesome. Once I've made it to the bottom of the page, it actually breaks on the footer there. So that's a really cool effect. I want to almost do that again. Let's scroll all the way down and see what happens again, because that break effect was really awesome with the bubble. Let's see if we can do that slowly. Yeah, I've got to find out how he did that, because I'd love to have a look at that code. Let's see what we have next. Here we've got one by Igor. And this one looks like it's just a portfolio that's done a little bit more interestingly by having some transitions and cool SVGs. So if we jump into it here, and this is igma.im, we can have a look. It's loading up a little bit longer than usual, but that's probably because it's got some nice animations in there. And there we go. So first of all, I've got a really cool little circle here for my mouse cursor. I like that because as I'm moving it, it's sort of stretching out a little bit and it's interacting with the elements on the page, which is nice. And here I've got a couple of different options here. And as I'm moving through them, they're animating with some cool SVGs here on the left. So if I say select the very first one, expands out with some more information. And all of these are actually moving about when I'm scrolling up and down. They've got a bit of a skew there, but that's really cool. I like that. Now let's have a look what else we can do here. So let's select back and let's select one of these other things, such as the portfolio here. So yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with this example. And here we've got a nice big lot of text. I'm not too sure which language this is in, but it seems it might be in English. That's okay. The font threw me off there. And yeah, no, I like this website. The transition effects on it are really cool. So we've got contact information here. We've got some sort of a gimmick happening. And here we've got, what is this eye doing? I'm not sure what this eye is doing, but still a really cool website. So here we've got another website designed by Parsons Branding, and they've done one with quite a few different elements here, such as interactive transitions and movements and all sorts of stuff. So let's take a look at this one. Now, as soon as you start opening the page, we've got some base content here while it's loading in the background. So that's always good. And once it's finished loading, it looks like it transitions into the kind of pages we have here. So if I scroll on these pages, I can see that they've got a nice skew happening and all the content's in there. If I select one of these, let's see what happens. So it zooms in with a nice transition effect, keeping the same element in here, but now I'm on a different page. As I scroll down, I've got what looks like a table of content here on the left, and all these items here are moving on the right side. The content's sort of placed so it keeps things interesting because they're never on the exact same vertical axis, but otherwise that's really cool. Let's click back and see what happens. So we've got some more transition effects happening, and it takes us back to this main page. Let's take a look at their menu. So their menu also has a nice big and simple lot of options, only 3 here. And this seems to have reloaded the whole page again. And otherwise, this is a pretty nice looking website. I'm pretty happy with this. And in terms of keeping things interesting, I think it's done a pretty good job. Our next website here is by Erica, and she's done a personal profile website, I suppose, with her content, but it's using some extremely large fonts, and I suppose this is what they're going for. They've got some animations and transitions happening in the background, and as soon as I scroll and move my mouse cursor, we've got lots and lots happening here. So let's start off. If I mouse over the very first element here, we've got a nice background picture of what this element I suppose is meant to be. The doll I've never asked for. The next one is another kind of model, and this has another image, but I can't see it very well. The SVGs look really cool. They've got some movement effects. They're sort of like water, but it's a little bit much for me. I feel that it's missing out a little bit on accessibility, but in terms of animation, it's really cool. Let's select one of these items and see what happens. So it takes us into the page here with some nice transitions and big text. We scroll down, everything transitions in with a video that's nice and large, some content behind it. The pages look pretty good actually, and they're fading in, zooming out. It's a nice, very visual website that talks a little bit more using images rather than words. And where it does use words, they're just very large, big, simple captions. Let's go back and see what else. Let's go to the About Us section. And yep, so this is, again, looks very similar to the last website we saw. It's got those nice big effects where everything sort of moves. And I suppose this is sort of what people are after these days in terms of keeping people engaged on websites. Moving on, we have a website by Bruno again. And in this one here, it's talking about how he's worked as a freelance designer for companies. And let's have a look at what's going on for this one. So it looks like it's loading here in the background with some nice transition effects, and it starts with a big picture of someone in VR. So as we scroll down, ooh, wow, we can scroll up or we can scroll down in this website. So that's pretty cool. And if we do scroll down, everything sort of is transitioning in and out of the page. It's a little bit jarring though for the scrolling experience because it's sort of not making its way all the way up or down, but otherwise it's a cool effect. If we select About, let's see what we get. So we have a nice transition with big text, and we've got some content here fading in and out. It's fading in a little bit too slow for my preference because I've already gone to the page, but it looks like this guy does know what he's doing. So yeah, it's really cool. Let's see if we can select one of these items and go into the page here. So it's got a nice transition into the page where I feel like I haven't left the website at all. It's got some really nice large content. This text is so large, I can't even read it properly. And it feels like it's scrolling the wrong way. Otherwise, this section here looks okay. We've got some information and content about each person here, so that's all cool stuff. I think sometimes having large fonts is a good idea to catch people's attention, but having them too large sometimes might overdo the effect. I hope you liked today's content. I'm doing more videos around design, so if you like this kind of content, leave a like and subscribe, and maybe even hit that bell icon. If you like the plugin that we used for today's design inspiration, it's called Muzli, and you can get it at muz.li. I'll leave it in the description below as well. They've got a plugin for Chrome, and I think for Firefox as well maybe, and they're a really cool resource if you want to have a look at what's currently trending in UI and UX.